presidential race is taking shape. In the aftermath of the two events that are really shaping it, the Paris attacks and the debate on October 10th, you really see some major changes happening in the Republican field. Trump is moving up, Carson is moving down, Cruz is moving up, and Rubio is moving sideways. And the others are remaining down. Start with the most interesting of these. There were 6 polls before the debate and with the Paris attacks, and Bush averaged 5% of the vote in those polls nationally. And in the 3 polls since the attack, he's 5% in the polling. So when you're at 5% for 9 polls in a row, it's like a flat line on an EKG. No life left there. Trump benefited tremendously from the debate and from the Paris terror attacks. You can't tell which because there was no survey in between those two events. But clearly, Trump's strength and his forcefulness were increasingly attractive to voters in the wake of the attacks. You know, sometimes a candidate has to fit himself to the events that emerge, and sometimes the events come up and meet the candidate. And that's an example of what's happening now, the events coming up to meet the candidate and to call forth somebody like Trump. But it's also calling forth somebody like Cruz. Trump had been in a tie with Carson, 24-24, in the 6 pre-debate polls. But in the 3 post-debate polls, Trump is beating Carson by 25-20. Big change. Cruz, in the 6 polls before the debate and Paris, was at 6% of the vote. And in the 3 since then, he's at 12% of the vote. He has literally doubled his vote share, largely in response to a very effective performance in the debate on November 10th. Rubio, his most likely major opponent, moved sideways. He went from 11.5 to 12.5 in the 6 before and the 3 after. So at the moment, the field stacks up. Trump at an average of about 25, Carson an average of about 20, Rubio an average of 13, and Cruz an average of 12. And then Bush 5 and everybody else less. We don't know if the Carson drop is going to be the beginning of something profound and prolonged. He's had so many gaffes. The most recent one was repudiating the guy who basically created his campaign, Armstrong Williams, and distancing himself from him, even though everybody in the inside knows that this was always Armstrong Williams's campaign. His lack of foreign policy experience, he just is showing himself not to be ready for prime time, much less for a presidential race. I would expect him, or hope him, to continue to fall, and that will release a lot of new voters that were for Carson and might now go to Huckabee, might go to Cruz as evangelicals, could go to Rubio, but it'll have an interesting effect on the race. The other thing is that increasingly the rest of the field is out of it. Christie and Huckabee have been denied appearance on the debate stage. Fiorina, Paul, Kasich, and Bush are mired in low single digits. So this is increasingly becoming a 4-way race. And if Carson drops further, perhaps a 3-way race. Frankly, except for Carson, any of the 3 would make one hell of a candidate. And I think any of the 3 would win this election. It'd be very exciting to support them. So far, this is good news. Thanks for watching.